everyone. I'm Christine Tully, President and Executive Writing Coach at Defend, Publish, and Lead, and welcome to episode 225, interview with Kiley Thornton of Textbook and Academic Authors Association. I'm so thrilled to have Kiley with us today. She's going to talk to us about an upcoming event for Textbook and Authors Association, but also some other goodies. And we're just going to dive right in, Kiley. So tell us about the Textbook and Academic Authoring Conference. We have it up on the screen for those of you on YouTube. You can check out the website, but I want to start with that because that's an event coming up in probably 6-ish short weeks by the time this comes out.
Very soon here, yes.
Yeah. So Kiley, tell us about the conference in a nutshell.
I'd love to. Yeah, our academic and authoring conference, as virtual this year, we tried to alternate in person and online so that we can, reach the widest audience and help folks out where they are. And then you don't have to book travel, which, I mean, thank goodness. I'm really excited for the program this year. Our theme is the future is now. And so we really wanted to focus on what's happening and what's coming up and how are advances in artificial intelligence and other areas of writing affecting publishing and academic writing and scholarly, all of it. So I'm really excited about this program. And we have a couple of new features this year, which I think is going to be really cool. And it's included in the registration. It's not in addition to.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, right. We have our pre-conference workshops. I'm clicking on the page over here. I think all three of them sound really great, and you could actually, they're the Thursday before, you could actually go to every workshop because they're lined up one after the other. But I think the one that would be really interesting for folks is the Become a Prolific Scholar, the Publish and Flourish with Tara Gray. And she says that the people who participate in this workshop, 95% of them have said that if they follow the steps that she presented in that workshop, they do see an improvement in their writing. So I think that would be really
Let me add something here too, because I have actually talked about Tara Gray in one of our episodes. I have no idea which one. I will link it in our show notes, but it is the episode about writing your thesis on the wall. I got that idea and I actually credited Tara with that. So yeah. So these are great conference workshops.
Great one. Must see. She's just really great, and so I'm glad you've seen it. The other, I'm really excited also for our keynote. He was just sort of the perfect fit for what we're looking for. We have the Michael Sullivan lecture, and we have Gerald Friedland. He is an artificial intelligence scientist. He's been doing this for 20 years. And he's also a textbook writer. So he's on both worlds and he is really at the cutting edge of what's happening in AI. And he's going to share his journey with modifying his publishing contract to include AI and then also using AI to revise one of his textbooks. So I think he's got this kind of really interesting angle because he has such a deep knowledge of what's going on with generative AI and how it's in fact impacting writing, but also impacting publishing. And I think that would be just really dynamic and interesting for anybody, wherever you are in your writing journey, whether you're writing a textbook or not, even as an academic author. I think that it's kind of interesting to see the impact of it on publishing. So we're moving forward.
Yeah, that's fabulous. And let me say one quick thing about that. So we have talked a little bit about contracts on this podcast, and I know that that's something that as AI comes out, people are starting to ask about that. And I recently just negotiated a book contract for myself where there was some language in there already about AI.
Yes.
So I agree with you, either whether you're writing a textbook or not, there's not many people that are sharing this information out there publicly. And if you're a scholar right now on the cusp, you're writing a book for tenure, you're about to do a textbook, I think even, listening to that, how Michael negotiated some of those things in a contract, that will give you the language of what to ask for. So I'm super excited about that. That's a great keynote. So what else? Tell us more stuff.
I think I'm trying to think. We have a couple of. I'm just scrolling. Pardon me. We have a session with Danelle Stevens. She's also one of the workshop folks. If you saw her name earlier, but on Friday she is presenting refining titles and abstracts. Sorry, I'm scrolling down to the agenda. Refining titles and abstracts, getting others to read your work. And I think Danelle's such a dynamic speaker. She's always very popular on the program. And So she's gonna walk folks through. They're gonna use some real world examples. And they're going to go through and like actually look at titles and abstracts and like how can I make this better. She has some questions that help sort of guide that conversation, and the attendees will leave with those questions so that they can apply that in their work later on. So I think it's really great to be able to have something tangible to take away from the learning experience. And so I'm really excited for this. I think this would be really interesting for folks who are sort of struggling with that part of their writing, and trying to get people to look at what they're producing.
And here's a pro tip. Like I mentioned how I do virtual conferences and I use TAA as an example, but in this particular session, I did mention this as one that I'm definitely going to go to. But one thing that I said is I'm going to actually have a current writing project with me at this conference. So that way, like right there, as I'm listening to Danielle, I'm going to listen to how to refine a title and an abstract. And I like to work while I'm watching because she's going to show us some great stuff, no doubt. So, for anybody that's planning to go to this, I think that would be really, really helpful. You can actually get some work done at the conference on your own scholarly writing, which never happens. You're usually getting a lot of ideas about projects to do later. I don't think the TAA conference is built in that kind of a way. It's a very action oriented thing. Like how are you going to get somebody to read your work? Fix these things in your titles or try this strategy to approach your audience. So great session. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good. And thank you for that comment. We do try to make sure that folks are not just sitting there and receiving a bunch of information and then being like, okay, that was nice. So I hope that,
And I'm
yeah,
never
other
going to
people,
use it because I'll forget.
I know, totally forget it. So, the other session, I think there's some other like this reimagining your home workspace, and I mean all of these sessions are great, but I think there's some tangible like if you're just trying to, we do have sessions that are designed to help you like um, identify tools to help you be a better writer, to reimagine your space, to make it more conducive to writing. I won't go deep into those, but the next one I wanted to point out is the responsible use of AI writing tools in academic authorship.
Oh, yeah.
This one is hosted by Kimberly Becker of Moxie. She's so interesting. She's a linguist, and I'm sure she'll give you her bio when she does it. But I just love she does corporeal language analysis, which I just think is really fascinating. And so she's deep in the world of AI and using AI to help enhance writing your rhetoric to make sure that it is expansive and interesting. And she also is really good at leaving you with like some tools and resources. And she's an academic, she's a PhD, and she's a total nerd. And she always has like, here's where you can find more. This is my cat Eric joining us.
I love when cats interrupt the Zoom. Like, I don't care. I think that's
He
great.
is always around. He's my
So now anybody that's just listening and not on the YouTube, that was great. The cat just like sort of wandered above Kiley's head, like right in the middle.
So I think this will be really dynamic. It's the first session of the day on Saturday. She's always really fascinating. And if you're also a person who just loves to get into the weeds and really wants to get pointed to more resources, she's a great speaker for that. And so I'm really excited to see what she presents there.
Fabulous. This sounds great. So what would somebody do if they're not already a member of Textbook and Academic Authors Association? Like what are, because obviously people going to the conference, they're hearing about it from this, and we've already noted that TAA is the sponsor for this podcast, but how does somebody, join or do all the things to be able to go to this conference if they want to go now that it sounds so exciting?
It
Sure,
is
they're
very
fun
exciting.
too.
So the great thing is that when you register for this conference, if you are not a member, you are eligible to take advantage of a complimentary membership. And that's included in the conference registration. It's $150 to register for the 2 days. But for folks listening today, if you use discount code DEFEND25, DEFEND 25, you can register at the discounted membership rate, which is $25 off. And you still get registration membership. So you should definitely take advantage of that. And of course, like we're a whole organization outside of this conference. So if you are interested in TAA in general, we do have more than this. We have tons of online webinars. We have accountability sessions. If you're just like really struggling to just find time in the day to write or work on projects, we have dedicated time every day. You could just log in and then you can get work done, and people find that really helpful. We have tools. I think Christine is really good at reminding us of the tools. She uses some of the tools.
I do. I use them all the time. That's why I say, like, I mean, I've said this before on this podcast, but like, I don't have other podcast sponsors because it's got to be something that I actually use and that I think is a good value, especially in higher education right now with so many people's faculty development funding being cut, if you had it at all. Like, I want something that I'm going to be able to get a lot of stuff out, and I'm just not like getting a journal that maybe I read, maybe I don't. Like, this one for me is one that helps in like all aspects of academic writing. So I know I've mentioned, webinars on here. I've talked about the newsletter. That's actually one of our episodes. I will make sure I link that one in the show notes. But other things I've mentioned many times are all the author like resources and the templates. Like, if you don't know how to negotiate royalties, well, if you go in the templates, there's a whole thing about language that you can use to negotiate your royalties in your contract. But there's things like even a writing log. Like, why build your own writing log? If there's one already that works. There's things with faculty writing groups, because I know that a lot of faculty developers that I work with, that they want to do content, they use us for individual coaching, but they're looking for other content to kind of round out what they do. So all of that is in one space, and I don't know anybody else that's supporting scholarly writing in this way. So that's one of the reasons why we always pump it on the podcast, because it's kind of I would argue, a really cheap resource for as much as you get.
I mean, it's affordable. It's $30 for the first year. So we really try to make it as accessible as possible. When you come, if you're interested in joining, check it out. I'm not forcing it. It's $30. It's a discount code published on the page. So it's not like we're hiding this information. We want people to take advantage of it. And then it renews at $100. I mean, it's still, you get all of that. You get tons of resources. We have something like 25 webinars a year that we just offer for free to folks, and it's a range of topics, and they're usually very, very useful. And same thing that we try to do with our conference in terms of making sure that there are takeaways and tools and meaningful like learning objectives. We try to make sure that that's implemented in all of our webinars throughout the year. So there's a lot of opportunity to learn. If you're not available June 6th through 7th, you can certainly find other sessions to join throughout the year to enhance your scholarship.
Sounds great. Well, thanks for sharing, Kylie. I'm so glad that you were able to join us today. And for anybody that needs additional information, we talked about a discount code and some other things. All of that will be in the show notes for this episode. But of course, you can always reach out to me at Christine at Defend, Publish, and Lead. And thank you for joining us today. Happy writing.